Welcome to the Hear It From Harlan podcast. I'm your host, Bill Riley. Director of Utah Athletics, Mark Harlan, takes us behind the scenes with exclusive interviews with student athletes, discusses the state of collegiate athletics, and all things Utah. Now, let's hear it from Harlan. All right, welcome into another edition of Hear It From Harlan. I'm Bill Riley, voice of the Utes, joined as always by the man whose name's up on the marquee, Director of Athletics, Mark Harlan. Got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of newsy stuff going on with Utah Athletics right now, in addition to all the sports stuff that's going on. And we have a very special guest coming up, one of the best gymnasts, not just on the Red Rock squad, but in the country. Avery Neff's going to come by in a little while. They're smack dab in the middle of another great season for the Red Rocks. So that will be coming up in a bit. Mark, how are things? You've been busy as of late, here, there, and everywhere. I ran into you in, of all places, Morgantown, West Virginia last week.
I know. I just saw you there in the morning, and I'm like, of course you'd be here. It's the voice of the Utes. We got a game. Yeah, I had to go back east for some meetings, and so I connected with the squad. I missed the Cincinnati game, but I was able to get up there to be around and kind of in bed and just see how we roll on the road. I haven't had a chance to visit with Alex on the road. It was great, really, to see how they interact and travel and how they take care of their bodies when they're on the road. And it was also fun to be there when they played just a great game, wire to wire.
And won.
And they joked with me that I got to go on every road trip going forward. And we'll see if I can get down to Tempe this weekend. I'm not sure.
Well, it'll be 80 degrees and sunny, so it wouldn't be a bad road trip to go on, that's for sure. Speaking of some news and things that kind of broke last week when we were on the road, really big news for the athletic department and Utah skiing. The NCAA championships have been moved to basically Salt Lake City, Utah, not necessarily Salt Lake, but the area, March 11th through 14th.
Yeah, it's been a crazy year, as we all know, in the West in terms of snow, and Montana State was really excited about hosting it. They just don't have enough snow, and they were getting really concerned, and the NCAA turned to us, and of course, we're ready to roll with our incredible partners up on the hill up there with our own mountain that we love to ski on and others, and so we were honored and blessed to be asked, and we're ready to roll. So I'm really, really excited for our team and our seniors to be able to compete. At home, it's great, and we know how to host championships, and everyone else that'll be there will have a great time. It's awesome.
It'd be great to have fans, Utah fans, on the mountain. It's really close up in Park City at the Olympic Park for the Alpine and Soldier Hollow for the Nordic stuff, and maybe they bring home yet another championship right here in our own backyard.
Let's go. That's what I tell Frederick every day.
So all Frederick does is win, by the way. I joke with him every time I see him. I say, hey, Coach, how's winning going?
But then he'll say, Colorado's pretty good this year, Mark. And I go, I know, Frederick. I'm just giving you grief.
It's good to be the big dog, though, and better to be the hunted than the hunter sometimes.
That's right.
Catch us up. We've touched on this a couple of times over the last couple of months, but where are we? What's the latest with the new partnership that's going on between, obviously, Utah Athletics, University of Utah, and Otro Capital?
Yeah, really going along well. UBI, as we call it, Utah Brand Initiatives now. We changed the name since maybe the last time we talked. It's being populated now with positions that make sense as we build the different verticals, all around the revenue-generating opportunities for the athletic department, with the big exception of philanthropy. That group will stay in the athletic department. But, we're starting to kind of get all the structure around it. We're finalizing all the different aspects to it. A few more things we have to do before we fully launch it, which I anticipate being later in the spring. But really excited about what it's going to do for our fans in terms of enhancements that we're considering through the group. We really want to make sure we have the most exciting venues possible, which this group is going to specialize in, particularly, again, as it's forming the different work we're going to do around NIL and really cranking that up for our student athletes, the ability to earn above the cap, which we know is a very competitive and important space for the Utes to be. So going well, really look forward to having it out there so we can meet more folks and we can introduce, I should say, more folks that'll be running that company. But it's going along really, really well, Bill.
Can you explain to the fans and listeners out there exactly what UBI is, what that organization, what that company will look like, and what kind of it means? Because I think people heard UB initially, and then it's been tweaked to UBI, but I'm not sure people are quite aware of what exactly that will be.
Yeah, so you just move all our brand enhancers, we move all our revenue drivers, we move marketing, we combine with the overall university corporate team, branding team, certainly trademarks and licensing, stadium manage it, and we all come together in one company outside of the university reporting through the foundation that was established a few years ago. So they're not state employees anymore, but they're working really together to really produce the best possible outcomes, both in terms of revenue, fan experience, and certainly brand enhancement. So we've seen a lot of these companies pop up in athletic departments. I think there's like 10 to 15 now, but we're really the first to bring in an outside partner to really invest in it and also bring in a number of professionals that will lead those different units that I just mentioned.
I get a lot of questions about it, and I say I'm kind of like you guys. I'm waiting to see how it rolls out too. But when you travel around and you're on a lot of committees and boards and you go a lot of different places, you talk to colleagues that are in the industry. Utah made a lot of news in December when this was announced and brought out, and it was a lot of work that you guys had done leading up to it. What kind of feedback and reaction are you getting from your colleagues in the business about this?
I think the question that I get a lot when I'm traveling is, how did you do it as a state school, and what is it going to mean, going forward? So the first one, the how, was just a lot of work with, it was a few years of just working with various different constituent bases and how you would structure this, because we still have to follow all the NCAA rules. We still have to follow all the state rules. And so we were able to work through all those different groups to get to that point. And then the next question is what it's going to look like. And that's what we're working on now as we formulate the different jobs that are in the company. But, at the end of the day, I think for me, the big headline here is combining all of the forces on campus together as one. So a corporation can come in and not just get a banner and maybe a radio ad or some type of an activation piece at a sporting event. Now they can capture other elements of the university that heretofore they weren't able to do. And so that's going to be a big headline. And I do think bringing in folks coming from outside can help integrate with our great people on the inside already to really look at each one of our venues. How are we activating them? How is our fans being treated? Can we get more concerts? Can we do more things on a year-round basis? And all of that coming together.
I know fans have asked me, and maybe you can kind of add a little insight. What's the fan impact? Or how will Utah fans that come to the Huntsman Center, that watch on TV, that listen on the radio, that go to the Huntsman Center in Rice Eccles, how are they going to be impacted by UBI?
Well, the first thing I'll say is the teams that they're coming here to support are going to be exactly who they're used to. They're going to be led by great coaches that will report solely to, through their sports supervisors to me. Nothing changes in who they're going to see compete in the great young men and women. Our hope and goal is to make sure that when they come into these venues, they get the very best experience they can, whether that's added technology, whether that's from how they park and all those kind of things. The first go-to is market's going to be, more expensive. I've caught that a lot. We're always going to analyze what we can do on seats. We just put out renewals, and we saw certain areas that were selling at certain, capacity, above capacity in football, and others that weren't. And so we judge our pricing all by that. That won't change, right? We're going to do great decisions and work together. But I think our fans over time, it's not going to be instantly, are going to see a kind of a way to run it that's more expected at the professional level when you come to venues, and that's what our goal is.
By the way, just one more note on kind of the financial side of things. You guys got a really good 2025 financial year report for Utah Athletics, didn't you?
Yeah, it was one of those things. Last year was a tough one because we had to put all our losses of leaving the Pac-12. We decided to put it all in 1 year, and that's why we had the deficit report that was over $10 million. But we've been able to build reserves and through the years, which has been great. And this year, we did finish a little bit above the line. Part of that was we used reserves. But going forward now, Bill, one of the reasons why we did UBI was, as we project out to the revenue share number, 20 million plus the cost of business and travel, everything goes going up, as we needed some added partners to help with that, because we want to be an organization that doesn't have to lean completely on the university to offset costs. That's not healthy for the university. But we were excited about the year. It was a great year for our fundraisers. It was a great year for ticket sales. Thank you to all our fans. And just a great job by everybody getting us to that point.
Yeah, the fundraising was a record year as well, and it's still needed moving forward, isn't it?
Absolutely. Our fundraisers are going to stay in the athletic department. We're going to really roll out a whole plan that's going to really talk about getting all our scholarships covered going forward. Scholarships are still so critical. We only have about half our student athlete population that's on revenue share. The rest are fighting and crawling and doing everything they can to be a high level competitor, and most importantly to graduate. So we still want to get all of those folks covered by our donors, and we'll be really kind of talking about a real aggressive plan to do that.
Let's shift to basketball for just a minute. You just mentioned at the top you were on the road. We saw you at West Virginia. It's weird to say this, but we're kind of heading down the home stretch. A handful of regular season games remain this weekend at Tempe, and then the basketball tournament in Kansas City will be coming up with the Big 12. But I've just been curious what you've seen over the course of the year with Alex in his first year with this team, and how you've seen things kind of evolve and develop through Utah men's basketball.
When I analyze a sport, normally end of the year, I really get my mind around it. But a first-year coach, I like to kind of look at things a little differently. I really focus on the organization itself, right? We know we got 30-plus games every year. We got to get out there and try to do our best to win every one of them. It's very important. But I really look at the organization, and it's particularly now, Bill, in this new era of player retention, portal, all of those kind of things. How are they structured to be at their very best? And I think what I've been most impressed about is, Alex, when I first hired him and we started talking about his staff, he really went through what he was looking for, not just in the people that he would get, but the kind of the positions that he wanted to fill. And look no further than the GM position. I think Wes has done a remarkable job getting the best possible roster in here. We've had some tough luck. It's, we've got some folks who got injured or had other things going on that didn't quite maximize this team. But what I'm seeing already is the early success in Wes being at places that a coach wouldn't have been able to get to, right? He can go different places. He can miss some games and be on the road, right? I mean, there's all of those things that are in place. So when you go to the fourth level of the Huntsman basketball practice facility, you will see amazing work being done, just like it is on the third floor with the women. But on the fourth floor, you'll see just remarkable work going. I don't know if I've seen a staff in a while that works this hard in recruiting, what they do at night, late at night, going through everything. I mean, there's not a player on a roster anywhere that they don't know about. It's pretty remarkable to see the work going on.
It's interesting. You mentioned Wes, and today's day and age of collegiate athletics, especially on the football and men's basketball side, it's almost a necessity to have somebody, whether they have the title of general manager or not, that's separate from the head coach, because there are just so many moving parts today. And to your point, I talk to Wes all the time. He's living and breathing roster construction now and in the future, and looking at that constantly. And what that allows is Alex and his staff, not that they're not part of it too, but to focus a lot on what's going on the court, and then they don't have to focus all of their drive, because you can't do it, Mark.
No, you can. And so I think what we're going to see going forward is a continuation of that model, and then obviously that hard work gets into player development, and I think I've seen our players get better this year. We've had some games where you're like, that's it. It's interesting that our 2 wins over, possible tournament teams have been wire-to-wire wins. So it's there. We taped this the morning after the Iowa State game. I mean, heck, we were with those guys for a big portion of the game last night. They're 4th in the country. I can go on, and this league is just so incredibly awesome. I can't get over how strong this league is. John Higgins was here last night, the gentleman oversees all officiating, and he's like, Mark, I don't think I've ever seen, outside of the Big 8 days, he said, Bill, which you'd appreciate, because I don't know if I've seen a conference quite like that. So we're learning, and also we're seeing what we need from a construction of roster going forward. So listen, I know they've let some games slip away. I think the guys have a lot of confidence in what they're putting together, and who knows, maybe we can steal a few down the stretch, and then we'll just get ready for this. This is a project, and we're committed to getting this right.
We're sitting here taping this podcast in the football building, and spring football is right around the corner. Morgan Scalley's first spring, his first go as head coach. I'm over here 2 or 3 days a week at least, and I bump into coaches. I was talking to Jordan Gross, saw him in the hallway a little while ago.
He's so happy.
Oh, Jordan Gross is first of all, I've known him since he was, he's always happy, but he's got a big smile on his face. There's a really good buzz and energy in this building right now for Morgan's first 2 months.
Totally agree. Love the whole climate in the office back there. Really enjoy some of the new player personnel staff that has come in, really thoughtful to their approach. Thought we had really made good steps over the last few years in that regard, but you can see some of the folks we come in, I think will continue to help with that progression. Yeah, a lot of energy. I'm excited to get spring ball started. It's always fun to watch how they've all been in the weight room. Some of the changes in the weight room, I think, have been really good for the guys. And everyone's really excited. I talk to the players whenever I see them. They seem to be really adjusting to changes. The new coaches, obviously, the players getting to know them better. But it'll be fun to get back out there in the field. And I go back to the Las Vegas Bowl. The energy that was in those practices, I expect will be the norm.
I think so too. You mentioned on, I think the last time we chatted about the new general manager, Joe DeRazio. And I had a chance to have him on my podcast on the Crimson Corner.
I listened.
He was great.
Yeah, he's great.
Joe is great. I could have talked to him for an hour about anything and everything. I just think his addition in particular, obviously Morgan, coaching staff and things like that, but having a guy, especially with his pedigree, Mark, and his background as both a coach, a player, business degree.
He's a little unicorn.
He really checks every box that you could possibly want, maybe then some.
Yeah, I agree. I had a chance to really sit down, close the door, and have a 1 hour talk. And he did a presentation, and I was like, "Wow!" I didn't know, for example, how much he's done in situational, play calling situation. Like I just thought it was player personnel, but he's done like papers on that, right? So I'm sure that'll be helpful as much as he's allowed to do that during games. But listen, I'm excited about what they're doing. But most importantly, I love the energy amongst the team. The quarterbacks have been great. They've been all over town having fun, and I just love that stuff. And I think you'll see more of that. I think we're going to really be a little bit more intentional at trying to get the football program a little bit more forward-facing so that people that invest in us can get to know us better. That'll be fun.
The bar for Utah football has been set so high for so many years. On all my travels around the conference, fellow broadcasters, media members, hey, how's it going? How good are you guys? And I tell everybody, I said, we're going to be good this year. Are you? I said, yeah, we're going to be good this year.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I outlined why, and they're like, okay, that kind of makes some sense. Are you kind of getting some of the same questions from your colleagues?
Yeah, sure. Everyone, wants to know what happened, right?
Yeah.
But once you get beyond that, I think, I don't know, Bill, for me, it just seems like there's just an expectation of, Utah football. Morgan has such great respect in the country from head coaches and from assistant coaches, and it's such a natural fit as most of the nation sees. So I think most people expect us. I think when we did such a great job in retention, knowing we lost some, we will every year, but we've got some really good guys coming in. And
that's what I mean.
Some of the people that I know in the business will say, oh, X, that was a really good get, this guy at that school. And so, we're Utah football. We're always going to be talked about. We're always going to be where we want to be, and it'll be fun to get them out there in the spring and see what we got.
Speaking of high standards, there aren't many, if any, sports at the University of Utah or nationwide that have a higher standard than Utah Gymnastics. The Red Rocks are the gold standard for gymnastics in the NCAA. And probably the face of Utah Gymnastics right now, Avery Neff. She's going to come by in just a couple of minutes here, right up next, in fact, and talk to Mark a little bit about the season and her story. So stick around. Avery Neff is up next here on It From Harlan. For tickets, apparel, team schedules, and more, visit UtahUtes.com, the official website of Utah Athletics.
Well, we got a special guest here today. It's, as I always like to tell Bill, I don't know if he takes it personally or not, but the best part of the podcast is when we have one of our amazing student athletes come in, and we certainly have one today. Utah's own Avery Neff has joined us today on my podcast. Great time to have you here, Avery. You guys are right in the middle of the fight. I was just looking at the schedule. My gosh, postseason is coming fast. But first of all, thanks for joining. I appreciate that. And well, let's start there. Like, tell me about the team. You guys have had some really good back-to-back scores. Mm-hmm. I know some people in the community with the Red Rocks, they just always expect you're our ski team. They expect everything to be, but that's not the way it works, right? The journey is a journey. So talk a little bit about the team and what's the mindset going into this last half of the season.
Yeah, well, first off, thank you for having me.
You bet.
But yeah, I think there was a lot of anticipation coming into this season. We had an amazing preseason, and I think, all of us kind of had the mindset of like, wow, like Utah Gymnastics has never looked this good this early. And so I think that kind of put a lot of pressure on us, and especially our freshmen too. We had 2 new freshmen. Bailey was in the all-around at first. So, we had 2 new freshmen, in a lot of lineups. So it sometimes does get hard trying to try new lineups right off the first meets of the season, and especially going straight into Sprouts, which is the biggest meet, So it is hard kind of starting out season, and, it's just a learning curve. It truly is just a learning curve, and no season's ever going to be the same. We lost some amazing alumni last year, Grace, Am, Jaden, Jaylene. So it was, we had to fill some pretty big shoes, but I think our freshmen is such a dominant team that they just kind of needed to get a little bit settled and comfortable. And, as we've been going throughout the season, it's just been ups and downs and faced with so much adversity and just trials after another. And I mean, this week was super hard on us mentally and physically. And so, I think we've really just come together as a team, and we're really doing it for each other. One of our mottos has been serve, and there's an acronym for it, but we kind of just keep that for us. But good. It's serve because we're not just in the service of each other, but we're serving the community, we're serving the team, we're serving the alumni that came before us and after us, and we're doing it for the girls, that dream to be a Red Rock, just like I did, So it kind of puts things into perspective of like, it is bigger than us, but this team is 51, and we kind of made it as like a 5 and then spelling out 1. Because it is Team 51. And I think last year we kind of emphasized, like, this is Team 50. Like, we have to win nationals this year. It's been 30 years since we've won nationals. Like, wouldn't it be so great to do it for the girls before us and after us for Team 50? And I think we've kind of switched the narrative this year and been like, no, like, we're going to do it for ourselves.
Love it.
We're going to do it for this team. And I think there's been so much anticipation with us, and we just put a lot of pressure on ourselves at the beginning that now we're really just going to do it for ourselves, and we're going to compete freely. And I think we've had so much hardships going on in the past year, past 3 years, so much change has happened that I think it's really just rebuilding it. And, this year has really tested our team, but I think it's going to be for the better, because I think every learning experience comes with something good out of it. There's always going to be light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that something good's going to come out of it. I kind of said at the end of the meet press conference, right. Just kind of like, things haven't gone our way. It really hasn't, but it's going to feel a lot better when we get to nationals and when we win, and having the feeling of, it wasn't easy. We weren't winning every meet. Well, kind of. We've won Big 12 meets, but we haven't, like Sprouts, we didn't do good, and we haven't done our best, we haven't done the normal Utah Gymnastics. But I think that's the greatest part, because we're going to get to nationals. Things aren't going to go our way. That's just how it goes. Nationals, nothing's going to go how we want it to go. All these other teams, there's going to be little flaws that happen with them, not the normal, and we've already been through all of the rough. We've already figured out how to cope with that and how to move on past it. And our coaches have kind of just really instilled in us that, like, each event is its own. And I've tried to really, be there for the freshmen and teach them. I think one thing that I feel like I'm really good at is gymnastics is such a special sport where basketball and football, you get multiple plays. You get multiple tries. You get multiple tries to get that touchdown, to get that shot, things like that. Gymnastics, you get one shot. But we have 4 different sports in one. Right. So it is hard to, I guess, change your mindset from each one, but it truly is different sports. If you're a basketball player and a baseball player, you don't take the same mindset to, oh, I just missed a free throw in basketball, now I can't hit a home run. Like, no, it's not. It's a completely different sport. So we've been trying to kind of instill in everyone that, like, each event is so different from each other that it's so easy to flip your mindset. And I think one thing that we've really tried to just kind of do this season is have fun, because sometimes gymnastics isn't fun. I'm just going to say that. It is hard. But that's when you find what makes you happy and joyful, that's when it all is worth it. And I think one thing that for me, I've really tried to instill in the team, and that my dad instilled in me, is like as little as a smile. Because you might not feel like you want to smile, you might not feel that you want to be happy, but it does affect the people around you. And when you have that positive attitude, that positive feeling, it affects other people. And it just is a never-ending cycle of, gratitude and happiness among the team. And when you have that, you are unstoppable. And so I think one thing that I've really tried to kind of help with is like, if you're not feeling your greatest, just smile. And you might not feel it. You might not feel like you want to smile, but the girls around you are going to feel that. That's going to make them more happy. They're going to feel the joy even from a small smile, and then it's going to affect you because you're going to forget about what happened, you know? So I think we've really just tried to, you know, change I don't think we ever had the victim mentality, but like, you know, it is easy to be like, oh, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel 100% on. I didn't feel all these things, instead of making an excuse and be like, no, I can change it right now. I can change how I'm going to feel. I can change how I'm going to act, and I can change my mindset right now. So I feel like we're trying to, you know, instill that in this year, but also carry that on through the rest of the years.
I love what you talked about, doing it for yourselves. I think, first of all, that's an incredible insight from a high-performing student athlete, but just from anybody who has maturity to really realize, I guess so much about life is your mental approach to things. But when you talk about high-level athletics, I mean, physically, you get to this level, there's always differences, but everyone's really good. But who separates? Mm-hmm. It's the mentality of it all. And I've heard Carly say publicly what she's told me privately, so I feel comfortable sharing it. Mm-hmm. It's just like there's a uniqueness inside the gym that is incredible gymnastics that are going on a mm-hmm. daily basis in there, right? And truly inspiring gymnastics. And she, you know, has hinted that will come. It's just going to take a little bit longer this year. And mm-hmm. that's what I told her. I said, that's the journey of any teams I've been around for years. They just take a bit to grow. I really want to talk about you for a second, because obviously you came in here, the number one rated student athlete, you know, one of our highest rated athletes of any sport we've ever, well, I guess in any sport. Yeah, now I think about number one. So you come in, it's a really senior-laden team. You have to find your place. You have to do your thing. You'll get injured, and we'll circle back that to in a minute. But this year, I was thinking about this driving over, what a 180. You are, even though, you know, it's not like you're an upperclassman, but you are really the leader out there in performance. But I think everything you just described is where you're really leaning in to make sure everybody else is right there. They might not be the one getting a 10 or the gymnast of the week, but we need them. You need them, the Red Rocks. So what adjustments have been from year one to year two to really assume that leadership role?
Yeah, so last year we actually didn't have captains because Carly thought that we all had something to share, and we all, you know, collectively had that. And I think part of that was because we were such a dominant freshman class that she wanted us to also feel that we had that voice to speak it. And not that the seniors didn't have that either, because some of the seniors were captains in their time in Utah. But I think she just wanted it to be more of a collective team thing. And going into this year, when me and McKenna were first captains, and then Sarah got voted in by the team, it was kind of a learning process for me, actually. I struggled with it a bit at first, and sometimes I still do, because it is hard to, you know, kind of be the person to put your foot down. You don't want to be the bad person. It's not that I'm going to be a bad person, but sometimes there's hard things that you have to say in order to... Conflict, for sure. And I'm so bad at conflict. I'm so bad at it. And confrontation, I'm not very good at. So it was a learning process for me. And I think at the beginning of the season, it was hard for me because I'm just such a people pleaser, and I want everyone to be happy. And when you're on a team of 16 girls that are all teenagers, it's hard to make everyone happy. And I think I forgot how to make myself happy at first. And I started the season off really struggling, honestly. Like, not that bad, but not my normal, you know? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, am I not going to be good this year? Like, what is going on? Like, I'm so good in the gym. Like, why can't I perform under pressure that well? And it's not like it was even that bad. But for me, I didn't feel that great. Yeah. And I think I just I didn't lose that competitive drive, but I think I was more so invested in how the team was feeling, how the team was doing in this aspect, if they were feeling confident. And I think I kind of lost, like, am I feeling confident myself? Like, I should be the first person to look for that. Like, I should be the first person to be confident in this team. I should be confident in myself, or else the team's not going to be confident in me. So I think I kind of took a step back after a few meets, and I was like, okay, I have no reason to not be confident in myself. Now I need to show the team why they should be confident in me. And I kind of had a flip of script, I would say, where I didn't not care about what the team was doing, but I really focused in on, I can't make everyone happy, so what am I going to do to make myself happy in the gym and share that light with other people? And I think, honestly, just by doing my normal, that was my way of leading. I had multiple times where I went in with Carly and I was like, what can I do more as a captain? I want to serve this team. I want to give everything I possibly can. When you give me a role, I'm going to give it 200% that I can. And I just feel like I'm not doing that. And she's like, why do you feel like that?
You're being hard on yourself.
Yeah. I'm just like, well, obviously the team's not performing to the best that we know we can. So I feel like I need to do something to help that. What can I do? And she's like, do Avery. Just do you. Whatever you feel, do that. We're not going to stop you. We're not going to, whatever. If you feel the need to go pull the team together, do that. If you feel the need to just completely have fun and talk to everyone, play Would You Rathers on Beam, do that. And, that it's just, honestly, that's what it is. It's just having fun. And I think I was taking it way too serious. Like, It wasn't that serious. I never took gymnastics as seriously. In high school, I would go to football games on weekends. I would go to basketball games the night before a meet. I'd go hang out with friends right before the meet or the night before a meet. And she was like, you're just taking it way too seriously. Like, you don't want to see people 2 days before the meet. And I'm like, I guess that's probably true. Like,
wow. That's
I just
really
was taking it too serious.
So you guys had a whole talk about that, which in turn, your performance improved and you probably became a better leader all at the same time, because that's probably what they wanted in you.
For sure.
Well, that's incredible. Well, we got to talk a little bit about going back. I mean, last year your injury was just so traumatic for you, your family, for the whole organization. But then began another journey for you. Mm-hmm. And you were, as I was talking about, I mean, learning how to walk when we came in before on air is just stunning. And there's videos of you doing that, to you competing. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing you at Nationals, and I was just like, you're here. Of course, you came back before that, but I don't think anyone thought of that. Just, we're seeing Lindsey Vonn and how she's responded to injuries and all of this. Had you gone through something like that before? Nothing mm-hmm. like that. So you just approached it with that same competitive fire you do with everything, with your brother, with your dad, everything mm-hmm. you guys do. You just attacked that in that way.
I think
Tell me a little bit about
doubt. That. Honestly, after that, I don't think there was a doubt. Like, I've had injuries where I was injured in the summer or something. I broke my foot in the summer, and I was in a boot, and I'd go surfing with a boot on my foot. Like, it was just like, that's just what I do. Right. And it was at that moment where I was like, my season's probably over after that happened. And I think I got a little bit depressed in that sense of being like, crap, I was the number one recruit.
Well, you had dreamed of this your whole life.
I wanted all these accolades, and right. It was just, 3 weeks into January, it's gone. And, I was just like, should I redshirt? Like, it's just another extra year that I'm just like, it's just elongating the game, and ultimately I came to this decision of my mind is such a powerful tool that if I want it, I can get it. And so I started rehabbing, things like that. Still couldn't walk. I was like scooting my butt across the floor to get anywhere. Like, it was ultimately like I could not walk. I didn't honestly remember. I didn't know how to walk. My feet wouldn't move the way they could. So it was hard. And like, what do you mean you can't walk 3 weeks ago and then you're just doing a bar routine? Like, I don't know. I don't know how it happened. I don't. But I do know that the brain is a powerful tool. And, I had a day where I came in the gym and normally I like push through all the conditioning super hard, and my rehab and my recovery. Zeb, our athletic trainer, he was in the training room with me for 6+ hours every day. And you know what? It just seemed like yeah, that's normal. Like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to rehab my body. I'm going to make it feel better. And that day that I walked in the gym, I just kind of lost all faith, where I was like, I've been in this walker for a week and I still don't know how to walk. Like, there's not coming back for this season. And Carly was like, when have you ever had that mentality in your entire life? When have you ever had that mentality? I was like, well, but like, look at me. She's like, I don't care. When have you ever had that mentality? Make yourself a goal, because you sitting here sulking isn't going to do you any justice. It's not going to heal them. So like, what do you want to do? Make a goal for yourself. And I was like, well, I always wanted to wear this Leo. She's like, what? I'm like, I wanted to wear this 50 years Leo. It has our name on the back of it. Like, and they don't do that normally. They don't normally put a name on the back of the Leo, but that Leo was such like, that was something that I was striving for, you know? And I'm a very like, not materialistic person, but in a sense of when I earn something, I want it as a trophy to show myself that I did that. And that leotard was my trophy. Or like a ring. When I win nationals, like, it's not the hype of winning nationals, it's having the ring to show myself that I did that I earned that thing. When we won Big 12s and I got that ring, that was like my most prized possession, because it was like, I worked for that. I worked for that ring. Right. I could probably go buy it on eBay or something, but like, I worked for that ring, you know? And so that Leo, I was like, I just want to wear this Leo. And she was like, okay, then make that your goal. Come back for Alumni Night. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, that's in 2 weeks. She's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess it might be possible. And then my brain kind of came to like, are the coaches going to let me? So I started rehabbing, and I was pushing kind of the boundaries. And they were like, maybe slow down. I'm like, no, I feel fine. I promise. Like, if it hurts, I got the okay from the doctors that I'm not going to injure it anymore.
Once you heard that.
Once I heard that, it was game over. Like, I already knew what I was going to do. I was going to compete bars. And the coaches, I mean, Jimmy Pratt was our bar coach, and he was like, I don't want you doing too many dismounts. And I was like, Jimmy, I promise I'm okay. He's like, no more on the hard. I'm like, yes, like, I need this. I need this. If I'm going to be in a bar lineup, like, I need to be doing the same assignments that the other people are doing. He's like, you have a very different, I guess, situation than them. Yeah. I'm like, but if I have to still earn to be in this lineup, because other people have been taking my spot. So I have to earn to be back in that lineup. And he was like, I only want one dismount a day. Of course, I'd push it more, and I'd do a couple more.
As soon as he turned around.
Yeah, I do a couple more. And I had to, you know, he didn't let me do the full out on bars, which I was like, okay, fine, as long as I can get the double A or whatever. So, you know, I just came back, and he even in the warm-up was like, are you sure you feel okay to do this? I'm like, I promise. I know, yeah, it's maybe a little zing through my feet, but like, it's not injuring them more. And ultimately, that was my brain telling me, like, I'm okay. The pain is temporary. Like, and I know that's not the case for every injury, but like, pain is temporary. It's not going to last forever. And I knew that. So why not accomplish these goals that I want and do that for myself? And when I landed that dismount at Alumni Night, I don't remember any of the routine. Normally, before I get up on the bar, I listen to the song and hear what the song's saying. I didn't hear anything. All I heard was the roar of the crowd, because it was so loud in the Huntsman.
There's been moments I've had in this 9 years in the job, that's right up there with the loudest I've ever heard. The shock of people seeing you in warm-up.
Yeah.
I mean, because I can't remember if it was talked about too much leading up to it. I think it was pretty muted. And they're like, oh, she's, you know, kind of like a football player you dressed to fool the other team, you know. But then you went out and you did it, and it was remarkable. And it was really, I think, a testament to everything we've heard today, just your mindset, your mentality, goal setting. It's just so inspiring. And you know, I feel like you've been here forever. Yeah. But now I can tell by your mentality, you certainly are well beyond your years in the way you approach stuff. Real quick, before we let you go, just the overall experience here at Utah. Obviously, you grew up, you were heavily recruited. You could have gone anywhere that had a gymnastics program, but you enjoying being on campus and having a lot of friends and families. It going well outside of all the work you're putting in?
For sure. I love it here. I mean, it is nice being close to home, too. It is hard at sometimes, too.
Sure.
You know, when family members want you to come see them all the time, I'm like, I still have a life up here. I got to get things done.
Absolutely.
But it is nice where in the summer I can go home and just, if I'm having a bad day, I'm like, I can go home to my parents.
That's right.
And, you know, sometimes when the world feels like it's ending, I can still go home to my parents.
I love it.
And so that is one of the biggest blessings with being here, but also having a coaching staff and just staff in general at Utah that even if they weren't here, I would feel the same way, that I could go to them in any time of need and I could feel that same thing. So, yeah, I don't know.
And you're driven to get the natty back in your hometown. Okay, I got one last question for you. You gotta help me with something. So I was inspired, I think last year when I read the story about you and your dad have this look, this signal that you guys do to each other, which I caught a couple times after I read it. So my son's a baseball player. So I told him about the story about you. So I said, Austin, you got to do this when you're at the plate, because he's a senior in high school now. And he won't do it. he won't do it. I mean, we're close and everything, but he won't give me that look. Anything that I can do to, or did you make that up, or did your dad? How did it go for you guys? Because it really is such a touching moment, because it's right after that you take that deep breath and you go. So I was just wondering how that started.
Honestly, I don't really know how it started.
Were you just tiny when that started?
We kind of started it probably my sophomore or junior year in high school. So I say like 1, 2, 3, and that's smile, do your best, and win. So if you think I'm a competitive person, my dad is just as competitive as me. And those are kind of the key components of having good, even in any sport, of having good sports. And I think that's kind of just like a reset. And even when it doesn't go well at first, there's always a reset. It's always a reset button for everything.
That's right.
And I think that's kind of been the thing where I can like look up into the crowd and search and find my dad, and then just kind of find that moment where I'm like, okay, it's like, it's really not that big of a deal. Yeah. Like,
he's going to be there.
Small world.
No matter what. I love it. You are so inspiring
Thank you.
So many people in this community and abroad to everything you're doing, and just continued success this year. It's going to be exciting. You guys have the big meet at Denver. I think we have BYU again at home, which someone will have to explain that to me. I think something happened in one of their meets and we're helping them out. Got a big one down at Poly Pavilion. That'll be I'm sure that's going to be a big television event. Really cool way to end the season before
Big 12s.
To have that kind of a matchup with one of our rivals. Best of luck. Stay healthy. Keep smiling. I know I will after this interview, and just very grateful. Thank you, Avery.
Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Follow the Utes on social media by searching for Utah Athletics on all social media platforms. Well, I'm thinking about just bowing out for the rest of this podcast. I don't know how I follow Avery Neff.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. Her transparency was incredible. I hope everyone really enjoyed that. You're talking about I believe the best gymnast in the country, and for her to be that clear about what she goes through in her process, what she's been through, how she thinks of everything, her role as a leader, how she's balancing that. I give her so much credit. I also really appreciated her comments about Carly. I was smiling during that a lot. Well, Avery says to smile, so I was. But you really how great Carly is, and having those conversations with her, and that was really insightful.
Speaking of gymnastics, 10-3 on the year right now. They've won 6 in a row. They're ranked 12th. And you kind of heard Avery say it. We haven't been ourselves yet. We're not really where we want to be with Utah, kind of the tradition of Utah gymnastics. But the scary thing is, maybe for the rest of the country, are they beginning to round into form right now, Mark?
Well, they certainly seem to be. I mean, we've had big scores the last 2 weeks. Even with some falters, we still are getting big scores. So I think they're coming together. Avery mentioned in her remarks about that freshman class last year. They're starting to come in on their own, and it was a huge class that came in this year. So it's just a matter of some of these young folks. When she was reciting all the athletes that left, I mean, most programs would take years to recover. Michigan won the national championship a couple years ago. I don't even think they've been close to the national since. You just don't turn over, but the Red Rocks do. And so, yeah, it takes time. The journey is what it is, but I'm excited to see. I'm really glad with this schedule, and I'm really glad that we're going to close the regular season at Poly Pavilion at UCLA. I think that'll be a great marker for us to get confidence going into the postseason.
We're taping this on a Wednesday. They've got a big meet coming up this weekend at Denver. Denver's nationally ranked. I think they're 21 this week. Dropped down a little bit after a struggle against BYU. Speaking of being in Colorado, The Utah women's basketball team was in Colorado on Tuesday night, and they got a huge quad one road win against the Buffs.
Yeah, really, really fired up for them. That I was catching the end of it last night at the men's game, and to watch us battle. I mean, Reese was amazing. Reese just throwing her body around. She didn't miss a shot yesterday. Just a sensational game. It's going to come down to the wire, right? They got to take it day by day, but we've got senior night coming up on Saturday. Hope everybody can help celebrate a really incredible group, and just got to keep winning, see if we can get in the dance.
5 o'clock Saturday, come out and honor the seniors like Lonnie White, Maddie Wilkie, and others. And a little work to get in the tournament. By the way, just one note on women's basketball, since it's happened since you and I talked last. What a great weekend for Elaine Elliott a couple of weeks ago. From the Friday night event with former players and coaches and staff and family and friends to the banner going up in the rafters on Saturday.
Spectacular event. Just Elaine was so happy, and we had a chance to really visit. But it was so fun meeting all her players, and some have gone on to just remarkable professional lives. And it was great to talk to all of them. But boy, she was deserved to have her jersey up there. Very deserving, and great weekend. Charmel Green put that all together, and it was just fantastic.
Spring sports right now. We'll get to baseball. You saw them in Southern California last weekend. Off to a good start. Gary's team 4-2. They go back to Southern California and play a nationally ranked UCSB team this weekend.
Yeah, it was great seeing them in person. I mean, we're really hitting the ball well, which is exciting. We're having some errors, issues, but I thought we really cleaned it up. We had 4 errors on Friday night, which really led to a bad game, but then we only had 1 the next 2. So I think we're rounding into form as we get going, because you can fix that. That's something you can fix. But I'll tell you, they know they have the Santa Barbara series, but they are itching to come home and have that opener, which is coming up soon.
March the 6th, in fact, against Grand Canyon, 4-game weekend set against Grand Canyon, the Antelopes, and of course, get your tickets at utahtickets.com. March 6th will be such a great day. Opening night, the new ballpark, Charlie Monford Field at America First Park. It's going to be fantastic. So get those tickets for March the 6th in baseball. Softball's also off to a good start. Amy is closing in on 500 career wins, but 11-5 heading into a 6-game weekend set down in St. George this weekend.
I always joke with Amy, like, when do they sleep? When do they eat? They're playing all the time. I mean, this is the time of year where obviously softball teams load up, and these are traditional tournaments that the youths go to. And there's like a thing with Amy's teams. If they go out there and perform well in this tournament, it tends to really be a signal of what's to come. So excited about their start as well.
And we would be remiss if we didn't mention swim and dive. They're off to a really good start at Big 12s this week.
Yeah, the both men's and women's diving won the championship. So that's a great start. And now we'll get into the pool and the rest of it. But, yeah, they've really been preparing for this meet. Jonas has done a great job getting them ready, and we'll see how the week goes.
So there we go. That kind of catches you up on everything going on in and around Utah athletics right now. A big thank you again to Avery Neff for coming by. She was fantastic. Catch them coming up this weekend. Thanks again to Nick Bolerjack for producing this podcast. Good sitting down with you again, Mark.
All right, Bill, we got a test. Who's got higher ratings, your podcast or my podcast? Nick was going to be checking in on that.
We'll have to go see what that is. He's writing a note down here to check on that again.
I see 3 under mine, which is my brother, my mother, and my dad probably.
I think Austin is listening.
My mother-in-law isn't even listening.
I think Austin's listening, isn't he?
No.
There's not a chance.
He's listening to yours.
Well, he's going to be a guest on mine at some point.
Oh, he'll do it.
Austin the intern.
He'll do it.
Thank you guys for tuning in. It's always great to have you as part of this. We do this for you. We hope you enjoy. And, enjoy Mark's podcast, the one you're listening to right now, and, of course, mine as well, the Crimson Corner podcast. We love that you listen to both of those.
That's right.
So for Mark Harlan and Nick Bolerjack, Avery Neff as well, I'm Bill Riley saying so long till next time, and go Utes. This has been the Hear It From Harlan podcast. Make sure to follow Utah Athletics and listen all year long as we keep you up to date on the Utes.